Now I'm gonna move on to Catherine on the being associate editor of a number of journals. So I would like to ask you, Catherine, as an associate editor, what are some of the advice that you can give to early career researcher or PhD candidate in terms of like submitting their work to say your journals?
Okay, just slow more. First, methodology. The two key points for me to not desk reject papers is like first of all, look at methodology. The second is look at theoretical contribution. Third, I will look about writing. And I remember before Sarah mentioned about, have the paper be edited to proofread a few times. That's very necessary. When I read abstract, if the abstract is not well written, I would desk reject. I don't even go further. So these are the very good points. And then a second one, I will read the introduction. If this introduction, there are no clear research gap and no clear statement of theoretical contribution, I would also desk reject. So if you want to get a paper past the desk, and the most important is making methodology impressive. And even if your methodology, as a matter of fact, not so impressive, but the way you write, it's very important. So there are many tips. I can't explain all, but just make sure the way you write, and always important. Like I said, when you finish a paper, get someone, if you get you someone senior to read for you or collaborate with them, because writing is very important. And it doesn't matter whether your English is first language or not. I always tell my students, you can speak English with accent, but the accent for writing paper must be right, must be appropriate. So that's my advice.
Thank you, Catherine. And in terms of your the proofread, just to build on, I think that's very important. And there are many levels of proofreader as well. I think I touched a point that Sarah used a professor in marketing as a proofreader, and she paid them the money. The benefit of that, at first I did not see the benefit. I was like, why would you waste the money and all that? But the benefit of that is actually the editor, the proofreader, actually can pick which is the right left reference, which is the best left reference, which is the outdated left reference, and understand the whole paper from the academic perspective of the reader. So it's quite important there. Now, we actually gonna come to the third round of the Q&A, which we'll have one more round after this. Now, we will answer a few questions. I will speak two questions first, and then I will throw to Sarah and Felix and Catherine. So the first question is how the first question before that. All right. Sarah asked a question about how do you get African research accepted in the top journals? Honestly speaking, nowadays when we publish, we should not specific to any country. African, Australia, Canada, Vietnam. There's one question about Vietnam, Thailand. From my experience, when I put in the word Thailand, Vietnam, African, it reduce the value of that paper, unless that paper is a specific case study about something. For example, the first mover in Chinese market, then you can have that. But if it just because of you correct the data in that specific country, like in India, you should not do about India unless there is some specific reason for it. And this is one, I'm actually working with a lot of colleague and candidate from India. Love working with them, work very hard with myself. One of the major problems that I noticed is that we tend to use the country that we came from or based in as a country of at the context of your study. That is not the best approach. You should looking at what is a gap in the market, in the industry, in a context. So please try not to limit your paper on specific country. All right. A data set. You can use multiple data sets if you want to target, top level journals and all that. There should not be a problem there. There's one question for Sarah. This might be the only question I ask Sarah and take each of us. So what are the three main points in your opinion if you want to, target GEMs?
Thank you, Park, and thank you, Farah, for the question. And I guess this question is related to conceptual paper, as you mentioned there. I think conceptual paper is actually one of the hardest to publish because it's really because we need to have really novel ideas, and that's why that is one of the first thing that you need to consider when you're submitting to like a top journal like JAMS. What is its novel? And when we talk about novel ideas, typically when you build a framework like as part of your conceptual paper, you need to think about different tensions within the framework. So it's just not like one direction, like everything's positive relationship. There should be some tension there, something that's really interesting. And then how you can develop like an emergent theory based on that to justify your contribution to a really big like body of knowledge. And when writing conceptual review papers, the narrative is really important, like I mentioned. So my paper published in JAM is also a conceptual paper. So the narrative, the story that you tell, the language that you use, and that's partly why we need a really good editor to help us like refine the language that we use in the papers and pick up any mistakes that we make in the paper. And I guess that's the key points when you consider JAMS. So having really novel ideas that potentially would contribute significantly to the literature, having a very innovative frameworks with kind of the tensions using looking at different perspectives to provide really comprehensive understanding of the proposed concepts or conceptual model, and develop a really convincing, clear, mistake-free narrative in your paper. So that could be I think the three main points I would like to.
Thank you very much, Sarah. We're going to move on to the next question. I might ask Catherine because you must have seen this a lot as well. So this question is from Lakma. So could you please explain a bit more about, this question is one question earlier. So in the field of marketing, do highly ranked journals prefer more innovative methodology or prefer more of the traditional type of framework or complicated framework?
Oh, absolutely. Methodology is number one. So sometimes the topic is not really the innovative topic, could be anything, but then the methodology should be one of the determinants for a paper to be accepted. So even if we talk about the marketing, the services marketing, relationship marketing, whatever marketing, you can always create some new concepts. Conceptual framework or new models, but it is all about methodology. Where you collect the data and how you collect the data is very important, and how you write the paper. And even with the same data and the same data, and it depends on how you conceptualize it, how you write it. And then there's many cases like, the authors come to me for collaboration. With the same data, whatever the model they crafted, I would completely come up with different idea and write differently with different statistic techniques to demonstrate different methodology to make the paper accepted, even the paper, had been rejected. So these are the things that, you should always think about. It's not just about, methodology is absolutely important, of course. The concept is very important as well, the conceptual model. But like I said, don't just think about adding a mediator or moderators would make it publishable, make it something like, make it as a research gap. Don't think like that. The conceptual framework is not about adding mediator or moderator. It must be something very new, very, I don't say innovative, something catchy, something relating to the current trend. So this is very important. So you can call that innovative, and just like a methodology. But methodology, it's not just about innovative, it's about rigorous. So innovative is about the concept. Methodology needs to be rigorous. Rigorous and innovative concept, rigorous method, innovative concept, rigorous methodology, that would guarantee the publication at least like a 60%. If you write well, that's very highly likely you'll be, your paper will be accepted.
Sure. There's a follow-up question. Can you use AI tools as part of your research methodology?
AI tools, you mean ChatGPT, right? Not AI tools. Do you mean ChatGPT?
Yes, or any other relevant AI tools that is available in the market.
What do you mean? How depends how you use it. You use it for what? For help you
So let's say if it's ChatGPT, do you see a problem in using ChatGPT as part of the research writing?
No, not at all. You could use ChatGPT help you proofread. Yes, and you use ChatGPT to verify some information. It depends on how you use it. And then if you set it properly. But now we have debate on how we set ChatGPT. So that's a different issue. But I absolutely should use ChatGPT, especially for students, with having the language issues. Yes.
I think it's very good. Myself also using it to help me with the structure, but don't use ChatGPT to find reference for you because it's going to be a fake reference. So you try that.
I don't use ChatGPT, but I heard lots of researchers do. So
Yes.
yeah, if you want to use it, welcome to. Why not?
Exactly.
And we like authors to be innovative in that way.
Sure. Thank you. The next question is from Lakma. So basically, she asked about the timeline, publishing timeline of journals. So how does it work? Like, once you submit a paper to a journal, so how does it work? So I might speak this briefly. So let's say if it's a regular issue, so it also depends on what journal as well. In different journal, they have a different approach. Majority of the journal, once you submit the paper, then we send to an officer. The officer will check. This officer could be a real officer from the publisher, or could be the editor-in-chief of that journal, or someone that the editor assigned to check whether you have followed the format of the guideline, everything like that. Then once it's passed the guideline, it's sent to the editor-in-chief to look at the desk rejection, whether it's good enough to send it to associate editor or send it to review. The reason why there is a desk reject is because it's not, try not to waste time of the review process and also waste time of the author. It might take about a week or two for a desk reject to be happen. And then if there is an associate editor or a regional editor, then it will be sent to a regional editor or associate editor. Then this type of editor, if it's regional editor, then they might have associate editor as well. And then once associate editor receive the paper, each of the editor might look at the paper again, whether it's deserved to send to the next round of review or not, just to save time for everybody. If it does, then the associate editor will assign at least two or three reviewers for your paper to be sent out to review. The review time is normally about 4 weeks for most of the publisher. And this time that I'm talking about the associate editor, all of that, they might take, say, up to 2 weeks. Could be 1 week, could be 2 weeks. It depends. Some journal take very long, some journal take very fast. Most of the time when we send paper out to reviewer, let's say if it's me, if we need 2 reviewers, I might send to 4 reviewers because some of them might not return in time, or some of them might reject, or sometimes we might need more than 2 people to opinion, just to make sure that the process is not take too long. But my dilemma when send our paper to review, and to be honest, is I do not want to bother the reviewer. If I think this paper will be rejected after the review, most likely I will reject it at the desk reject stage, because the reviewer that we use, a lot of the time in one of my journal, we must use an editorial advisory board. So we have just 100 of them. I cannot bother them every single day. So, later on they get upset as well. So therefore, that's why the desk rejection on my desk is actually quite high, which is 90%. I'm actually the highest desk rejection associate editor in my journal, I think. So I'm quite harsh there. Now, Felix is also associate editor there. I don't know how harsh he is, but in my one, the reason I desk reject early is because I don't want you to waste time. But at the same time, I give you some comment as well as a desk reject, but might not be long, but just a short one. If it was sent to review, then 2 to 3 reviewers will have to comment on your paper. If only 1 reviewer come back, then I will assign another reviewer to have 2 reviewer comment. Now, the emergency reviewer will be someone that I know that they can finish that task within 1 week. So, for the sake of the author not going to wait for too long. The review process could be up to 2 or 4 months, depending on the journal. And after that, the editor will make the associate editor will make the decision. The editor-in-chief of the journal will enhance the decision. So normally it will be something like that. So the process of the review, say 4 months, each round. So if you do 2 rounds, then maybe up to 5 to 6 months, because minor revision or major revision, it will be something like that.